The Supreme Court has ruled that Trump's travel ban can be enforced while lower courts decide its fate. Now, this is a travel ban that affects mostly Muslim countries, including Chad, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Syria, and Yemen. It is not the final ruling by the Supreme Court. This is a case that is being challenged in lower federal courts, and then eventually the Supreme Court will rule on the legality of the travel ban. But there were only two Supreme Court justices who dissented with this decision. Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Sonia Sotomayor are the two justices who did not agree with the ruling. Now, again, this is not the final ruling when it comes to the legality of the travel ban. It just indicates that the travel ban can be enforced while the lower courts decide its legality.
So let me tell you a little bit more about this. First of all, there was two liberal justices who also voted with the conservatives, Stephen Breyer and Elana Kagan. So why did they do so? Well, number one, they have a number of exceptions in this new version of the law. There's like the 18th version. Yes, that's hyperbole. First, people with a claim of a bona fide relationship to someone inside the United States cannot be kept out of the country. So grandparents, cousins, other relatives could not be excluded. Number two, refugees are unaffected by this. You still have to go through a process with a refugee. Is their life in danger? Is there a reason why they've come here? If it turns out, for example, that they're gay and they execute people who are gay in their country, right? Or they're Christian and they execute Christians in their country. We got to find out, we got to go through a process. You can't just send them back right away or not allow them into the country. So it excludes refugees for that point. It also includes travelers from North Korea and some government officials from Venezuela. And part of the new reasoning that they put in their 18th attempt, I think it was in reality about their third attempt, was that they realized, oh, right, we should do two things. One, we should pretend it's not a Muslim ban. So we'll include a tiny little bit of things that are not Muslim, like the North Koreans and the Venezuelans. Secondly, we'll have to come up with an official reason. Yeah, that's it. Now, we know why he's actually doing it. Trump has said it over and over again. He said during the campaign, we need a total and complete shutdown of Muslims, right? But now their official reason is, no, these governments are not cooperating with the United States in the way that we want them to. Which would be a real reason, a legitimate reason to not allow people from that country in. Well, if you're not cooperating with our law enforcement, well, then I don't know if your papers are trustworthy, et cetera, right? But if they had started with that and it was a hodgepodge list of countries not cooperating with us, that would be perfectly fine. But we know what they started with, we know what their intent is, and that's why a lot of the lower courts have said, who are you kidding? I mean, you just sent out tweets against Muslims just the other day. This is clearly a Muslim ban. If it was a legitimate travel ban, we would rule in the other direction. So for the moment being, the Supreme Court is giving the administration, in essence, the benefit of the doubt, because they will rule on it later, but for now they're saying, yes, the federal government can enforce this while we look through the case and decide the case later, because there's enough grounds to make you believe that maybe it's not really a Muslim ban, but it's a travel ban based on legitimate reasons.
Right, and I just want to briefly note that one of the reasons why lower courts struck down portions of Trump's travel ban was because of Trump's comments during the campaign and things that he's tweeted. So his tweets have gotten him in trouble in regard to trying to enforce this type of ban. But also, look, this is what people forget, and it drives me absolutely crazy. The Muslim ban, which he did call a Muslim ban previously, was supposed to take place in a 6-month period so he can figure what the hell is going on. So he has been president for over a year now, and I'm curious what kind of investigating he's doing to figure out what the hell is going on. Because it doesn't seem like there's really any type of time frame or timeline when it comes to this. It's just him, pandering to his base, throwing some red meat to them, doing exactly what they love, which is, talking about stronger borders, making sure people don't come in. And by the way, like North Korea, Do we have like this weird influx of North Koreans trying to come into the United States?
Oh, they're beating down our door. Well, there would be if we let them, or if North Korea let them. And if that was the case, and they're actually running, like remember the guy who got shot 5 times trying to come in?
Yeah.
We would let them in.
Would we though?
Well,
under Trump, would we?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I mean, those people are living in basically one giant concentration camp. I hope to God we would let a North Korean defector in, but with Trump, you never know.
Right.
So in this case, though, they're referring to officials, and Trump has been in office close to a year, of course. But Anna, that's a point that I hadn't heard before, and it's a great point. If you've had close to a year to figure out what the hell is going on, if you haven't figured it out by now, how long do you need before you literally find out, quote, what the hell is going on?
Well, that would actually take a little bit of work and investigating, and it's a lot easier to sign executive orders that don't require any critical thinking and tweet in the early hours of the day and watch cable news. Those are the real duties of President Trump.
And his incompetence is what led to the several different versions of this. And in the last version, they borrowed some of the language that the Supreme Court had used in an earlier case, so that it would be harder for the Supreme Court to turn them down. Finally, someone inside the White House was thinking. They found a real lawyer. They're like, wait, I got an idea. There's this thing in law called precedent, and especially if it's this Supreme Court that said it, maybe we should put it into this ban. And they're like, whoa, that guy's a lawyer, right? So part of the reason for this ruling coming out today, and if you're wondering why the courts care about his tweets, because they're saying part of their job is to interpret the real intent of the ban. And if your intent is because you're worried that they're not cooperating with us, fine, acceptable, legal. But if your intent is that you want to do religious discrimination, which is unconstitutional, according to the United States Constitution, then it is not permissible. So when Donald Trump keeps going out and attacking Muslims, and earlier had said this is a Muslim ban, this is a Muslim ban, well, that's relevant to his intent, and that's why the court would look at it. I hope when the Supreme Court looks at it, they take that into full consideration as well. If you like the Young Turks, you'll love Young Turks membership. TYTnetwork.com/join.